Spider-Cat has appeared across all types of media, but for some reason there's no LEGO version of this incredible character.
Until now, I'm Gonk, this is Spider-Cat, and in this video, I not only want to teach you how to make a Spider-Cat for yourself, but I also want to design villains for Spider-Cat and then build them in LEGO. For those that have played the Miles Morales game, you might recognize a cat very similar to this. This Spider-Cat, however, actually has spider powers and is one of the spider protectors of my city, New Gonk City. As you can see, she often just sits above the city, watching over everything. But before I start to make a story of why this cat is in my city, let's take a closer look at this build right here.
As you may have noticed, this is just the Tuxedo Cat set, but some parts on the head are switched out for red. I rebuilt it in Studio, and then I gave it some larger eyes to be more like the lenses of the mask. So a lot of pieces for this actually came from cannibalizing this Spider-Man mask set, and that also allowed me to get some of this black webbing sticker pieces in here, which give the set just a little bit more detail. I'm currently making free instructions for how to build this for yourself, but it's just taking a little bit longer than I was expecting. I'm new to making instructions, but that will be up for free on my Rubricable within the next week or so. And then I do plan to also make a separate video that talks through the easiest way to get parts so you guys could build this for yourself for like under 20 bucks.
So now that we know how to build Spider-Cat, why don't we build a story for her? So, one, how did she end up in my city? I just think it's really funny if this was an outdoor cat that just saw my LEGO city, saw all the huge super villain battles that I have in it, and decided to step in and help. Next, what are the villains of Spider-Cat? Before Spider-Cat was in New Gonk City, we had another cat. This is Catzilla, aka Lucy, and she is a sweetheart, but she loves to attack the Spider-Man in my LEGO city. She loves to leave her hair everywhere in New Gonk City. And if you've watched the LEGO Ninjago movie, you're well aware of how troublesome a cat could be in a LEGO city. So I just thought it would be funny to make her the villain of my LEGO city and then counteract that with a spider cat that I could create a larger story for.
Look at this. As I'm filming this video, she destroys the ear of Spider-Cat and then just decides to take a bath right next to her. She's a menace, but a very cute menace.
But Spider-Man doesn't just have one villain, and I don't want the same thing for Spider-Cat. She has to have her own Sinister Six. So what else could I build out of LEGO? Well, if you follow my TikTok, you know about the idea I had earlier this year to turn the 3-in-1 pigeon set into Green Goblin, a villain for Spider-Cat.
Strong enough to have it all. Too weak to take it!
So let's take a closer look at that build.
Introducing Norman Osbird, aka the Green Gobbler. Yes, I know that pigeons do not gobble, but just go with me for that. And you may notice that I did not choose to give a pigeon the color scheme of Green Goblin. I instead gave it a little technology. It's wearing a helmet, it's flying on a glider, and why would a pigeon that can fly use a glider? I just think that's hilarious. I think that's really funny. And this creates some really interesting implications for the universe, because that means some human is building technology to put on animals in order for them to fight Spider-Cat. And that is a hilarious thing. It got my mind rolling. So let's look at what other ideas I came up with.
So to come up with other enemies of Spider-Cat, let's start with where we did with Pigeon. This was a 3-in-1 set. So let's go to the LEGO store and look at some other 3-in-1 sets to see if we can spark some ideas. So here we have the pigeon, but it's important to me that everything stays in scale because some of these ideas like a panda or the dog don't really work. But then I saw it. Squirrel, Doc, Ock. Amazing idea. Imagine them using the mechanical arms to throw acorns at Spider-Cat. Just a very fun idea. This trip to the LEGO store also gave me some good rules to follow. So number one, stay in scale. I think it's important that everything is in scale with Spider-Cat. It helps build out this universe and makes it seem, somewhat realistic. And the next rule, it should be found in New York City. This could, expand in the future, but especially for the Sinister Six, I think it's really good to kind of stick with the New York setting, and pigeons and squirrels both absolutely can be found in New York City. So next up, I wanted to come up with an idea for Venom, because we're not sticking with the classic Sinister Six lineup here, just the main villains. So for Venom, I could do a venomized cat, that could work, but I don't love it. I then thought of, a venomized rat, but I don't know, that would be really hard to build, and I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. But then I kind of got this idea of, with rats are vermin. What are other types of vermins? Bugs. And so we have cockroach, venom. Imagine a bunch of venomized cockroaches, like an army of them. It's gross, it's weird, but it fits for Venom. And then also a bunch of cockroaches crawling around my LEGO city is like symbiote tendrils, it fits. That's what I'm doing. For the next one, I have one word for you guys. Fish. Mysterio, but a fish. It just works so well. A lot of people commented this on my TikTok, so thank you all for that. But the fishbowl aesthetic is, Mysterio's head is a fishbowl. Putting a fish in an actual fishbowl could be really cool. And then you could do something like with the rocks and, something with the green mist of Mysterio. There's just a lot to work with this idea. So next idea, easy. Next up, we have a very stupid one, but it just had to be done. The lizard is just a lizard. You gotta do it once. I don't want to do it too much. I think it's more fun to be a little bit creative, but there's just something about the lizard. He's one of my favorite supervillains, so I just love making him just a normal lizard. But to be a little bit creative, I want to base it off an actual lizard that could be found in New York City, so I'll do some research for that. But yeah, the lizard's gonna be a lizard. It has to be done. So for the final option of the Sinister Six, I definitely have to do something with a rat. Like, a rat is a classic enemy to a cat. You just have to do something. And I was racking my brain, and then I thought about it. El Rata Alada.
El Rata Alada? Yeah, rat with wings.
When you think of Spider-Man villain with wings, Vulture is, obviously the first one that comes to mind. And I think it's really funny to give a rat, the common enemy of a cat, wings so it can, escape and fly away. Just a very fun idea. So this is my lineup of the Sinister Six for Spider-Cat. I really like this lineup, so let's go and start building.
So unfortunately, I got really excited and I built all of these off camera, but we have 2 members of the Sinister Six left, so I'll go through the process of building those in another video, but let's go through these 4 members of the Sinister Six. So we already looked at Green Gobbler, Norman Osborn before, so let's take a closer look at this custom-made glider. I'm really happy with how this turned out. We got a lot of that purple in there up at the top, and you can see in the back we have these tail feathers that have the pigeon colors on them, and below there is a pumpkin bomb. That is an actual poop feature, just because, pigeons are known to poop on people, and, I have one on each side, but really happy with how this turned out. It's pretty posable, and, fits really well with the Green Goblin. Here we have Otto Acornvius, aka Doc Oak. One of my favorite builds I've ever done. Funny enough, the only reason he's smoking a cigar is because I didn't order an extra one of those horn pieces, so I have to, have something to fill the space, and he smokes a cigar in Spider-Man 2, so it just worked here. But we can put the acorns in his hands, and you can see he has such a large profile. I'm so happy with the, circular shape of the arms. That was really hard to get, while also being posable and sturdy. And then thank you to my friend who suggested I gave him glasses. It works so well. It ties the whole figure together, especially if we don't have the lab coat. As you can see, the talons are very posable. And I even gave, some alternative ones. We have the horn or the, spike here. These do fall off very easily, but I just love how that shape came together. So, I don't really care. I'll figure out how to attach them a little bit better. Speaking of things that don't attach well, how this all connects in the center. These, disconnect very easily. There's a lot of weight to these arms, but luckily, usually it works well. So, I'm not too pressed about that. But overall, I hate to use this word, but this man has aura. I can't describe it. There's something about a squirrel with Doc Ock arms. It's so cool. Fishsterio is still in progress, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. But there's some weird glare on the glass, so let's take some of that out of the fishbowl. So Fishsterio is another 3-in-1 set. This was an old fish, but I kind of changed the color scheme, so I gave it the magenta and purple cape. And then some green, some gold accents, and then the head is meant to be, that, standard fishbowl light blue head that Mysterio has. And then I also made this mini Daily Bugle based off the modular, which is my favorite set. But, just to be kind of an aquarium decoration behind Mysterio. Instead of, a little castle, he gets the Daily Bugle. So the original idea was never to have the fishbowl raised. I was going to have all of these pieces inside to act as the rocks at the bottom of the fishbowl, but also kind of allude to, Mysterio's magic and the mist all around him. But that didn't really work out well. So I also ordered these because Mysterio's helmet is usually a light blue. And so making, the fishbowl, which looks like his helmet, even though the fish is inside, getting that light blue represented in the helmet can also kind of, give the idea of water. So I ordered some of these. These pieces, I only could order 10 of them. So it was just an idea to kind of try out. But I think this is the way to go to get, that blue in there. Obviously, I would want them to actually be this more opaque and like, shiny blue pieces. So I'll need to order a whole bunch of those. But you have this, and then there's the green smoke below, kind of, spiraling up in a tornado. That is the idea I want to get across. Hopefully that's what's coming across. Please let me know in the comments if it's not, or, any ideas that you guys have to improve that. But I do really like these, leaf pieces for smoke. It obviously works really well. But yeah, that is fish stereo. I want to know you guys' opinion. Should I stick with the green inside the bowl or stick with this blue, raised up with the green smoke in and around the fish bowl? And finally, we have the venomized cockroaches, and these are disgusting to look at, but that's, exactly what I want to come across. So you can see down here, this is the one that I came up with originally to kind of be the base model of, and then all these other ones have slight variations. So looking at them all from above like this, you can see all those slight variations. Overall, I would want to have more than this. I think I designed, 8 total, but I could only buy the parts for 5 of them because, that venom printed piece, not easy to get a whole bunch of those. I don't know if it's better to have them all like crawling over each other or having them a little bit more spread out. But I definitely want to have, probably at least 12 of these total. But another idea that I wanted to play around with making these ones was what if I have different types of bugs? So this was the original inception of a, venomized cockroach, not based off anything, just, a normal bug. These ones, oh, that head fell off. These heads fall off super easily, which is really annoying, but it was hard to get everything compact because I was trying to get the dimensions of a cockroach. So not very easy to do. But what if I have different types of bugs in here? Does that, give a little bit more variety to the whole army of bugs? I don't know. Let me know in the comments as well, because, I like this idea, but I'm not sure I love it. I definitely want to keep working on this. There's going to be further parts to this series, but it feels wrong to leave this video without an original Sinister Six for Spider Cat. So we have these 4, we have Catzilla, but who else could we do?
Obviously a dog. Why have I not done that yet? If I'm going to have a spider cat, an enemy for a cat is just a dog. Why have I not done that yet? Well, 1, as I said before, I want everything I build out of Lego to be in scale with this spider cat. And 2, I already have a dog. I have a pet dog named Kenobi. He is an 85-pound chocolate lab, and he is already a perfect villain for my Lego city and something that Spider Cat needs to stop. Obi is a destructive force. His tail is a weapon of mass destruction. He comes in and just destroys all my minifigures that I've set up. He is a menace, just like Catzilla. So it makes sense to make him a villain. Originally, I was planning on him being Rhino, because just like Rhino, he's bigger than Spider-Man. He's more destructive. And then, as I was talking with some friends, they suggested I make him Scorpion, because he has this tail that is super, deadly. But neither of those really fit. Until I came up with an amazing idea. Imagine I put my dog in a little dress shirt, give him a purple tie, and he is the Kingpin, the big dog of crime of my city. It already fits because Kingpin is much bigger than Spider-Man. Kingpin looms over the city. That's a classic, comic shot, and it just makes sense for Kenobi because he looms over New Gonk City. And it's just, oh my God, it's so cute. Imagine my dog in a little white suit. I'm not going to pay for a white suit because I looked it up on Etsy. They're $100, so I'm not going to spend $100 to do this joke. But, I'll put him in my dress shirt, and it works. So for this video, we have the Sinister Six for Spider Cat. Number 1, we have Catzilla, my cat Lucy. Then we have Green Gobbler, aka Norman Osbird. Then we have Otto A. Cornvius, aka Doc Oak. Then we have Fish Stereo. We have venomized cockroaches. And finally, we have the man who orchestrates it all, the big dog of crime, Kingpin Kenobi. Absolute cinema. I'm sorry. I love this idea so much. I'm going to keep adding on to it. I already have so many other ideas, stirring in my head, some that I've already built. But yeah, that is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you think about it. I'm so excited to keep building on this idea. Spider Cat, amazing. And I'm excited for the start of this journey. So thank you all so much.